My ex-wife thought she ruined me in the divorce until I won big. When she came crawling back for money, I made sure she regretted it. Let me tell you, nothing stings quite like finding out your spouse betrayed you, leaving you financially ruined after a divorce, only to come crawling back when you hit the jackpot. That's exactly what happened with my ex-wife, Sarah. Sarah and I were married for 6 years. From the outside, we probably looked like a stable couple. I had a steady gig as an IT specialist, and she worked as a freelance illustrator. Money wasn't overflowing, but we were comfortable enough to cover our expenses without stress. To most people, we seemed like a solid team, but I wasn't about to be one of those guys who gets blindsided years later. I started picking up on subtle clues. Sarah's routine shifted. She'd have client meetings at odd hours, or take forever to run simple errands. She began dressing up more. Fancy outfits, full makeup, even for something as casual as grabbing coffee with a client. Her phone was practically an extension of her hand, but she'd never leave it lying around unlocked anymore. I'm not one to leap to assumptions, but I'm no fool either. Things weren't adding up. I decided to probe a bit. One evening, I casually asked about her day, her clients, the usual stuff. Her responses were vague, and she quickly steered the conversation elsewhere like she couldn't wait to escape it. I didn't press her, but I wasn't ignoring it either. Over the next few weeks, I kept my eyes open. She'd leave the house for work without her tablet. Her social media posts started feeling like they belonged to someone single, selfies with captions about independence and joy. The final straw came one night when she left her laptop open. I wasn't snooping. I just needed to move it. But as I did, a message popped up. Her laptop was synced to her messages, and there it was, from some guy named Jake. Last night was incredible. I could have lost it right then, but I'm a strategist at heart. I didn't want to give her a chance to spin a story. I opened the conversation. It was exactly what I feared. A 2-month thread between her and Jake, detailing how they'd met at a fitness class, their secret rendezvous, and her plans to ditch me when the moment was right. I wasn't just angry, I was laser-focused. I saved the messages, took screenshots, and created a file of evidence. I wasn't giving her any room to maneuver. The next day, I contacted a lawyer, laid out the situation, and showed him the proof. He warned me it'd be a tough fight, especially without a prenup, but the evidence gave us a strong case for divorce based on infidelity. When I confronted Sarah, I stayed calm. I showed her the messages and said, "So, when were you going to tell me?" She froze. For a moment, she tried to deny it, but the proof was undeniable. Then she flipped to blaming me, saying I hadn't been supportive enough, hadn't made her feel valued. I cut her off. "This isn't about me. It's about you. We're through." That's when the real war began. Sarah wasn't going to let me walk away easily. She hired a lawyer and went after everything. Half my savings, the house, the car, even part of my pension. Her claim? She'd given up so much for our marriage and deserved her cut. Her lawyer pulled every trick to drag it out and make my life hell. At one point, she even argued she needed more because she'd been my emotional backbone while I built my career. The nerve was staggering. My lawyer said we had a good chance of winning in court, but after months of fighting, I was drained. I made a choice. I let her take it. The cost of fighting wasn't worth my sanity. The day the divorce was finalized, it felt like a boulder had been lifted off my chest. I was broke, but I was free. Little did I know, fate had a wild twist waiting for me. After the divorce, my life was about 2 things: work and survival. Starting over wasn't just a phrase, it was my reality. At 35, I was in a 1-bedroom apartment on the outskirts of town, furnished with thrift store finds and curbside rejects. My old life, nice house, reliable car, was gone. But I didn't wallow. That wasn't me. The apartment was rough. Scratched floors, a cramped kitchen, and neighbors who thought midnight jam sessions were normal. My living room had a second-hand couch and a TV that only worked if you smacked it. Bare walls, a nearly empty fridge, but it was mine. No Sarah, no Jake, no reminders of the betrayal. I threw myself into work. My IT job wasn't flashy, but I was good at it. I took every extra project I could, picking up freelance work on the side. Days blended into nights, and rest was a luxury. It wasn't healthy, but I had a mission: rebuild my savings and prove I could succeed without Sarah. Those first months were brutal. My bank account was a joke, and I was exhausted. I'd come home after a long day, stare at the stack of bills, and wonder how I'd ended up here. But then I'd remind myself I was free. No more Sarah telling me I wasn't enough. No more pretending everything was fine while she lived a lie. That thought kept me moving. I learned how little I actually needed. Stripped to the basics, you figure out what matters. I didn't need designer clothes, a fancy car, or a perfect apartment. I needed shelter, food, and the will to keep going. There was something freeing about letting go of the material things Sarah had been obsessed with. Social media didn't help, though. Sarah and Jake were flaunting their life, or at least that's what they wanted people to believe. Posts of them relaxing by the pool at my old house, posing with my car, acting like they were living the dream. I could have blocked her, but I wanted to see how it unraveled. I knew their kind of relationship wouldn't last. People like Sarah and Jake were bound to implode. Sure enough, I started hearing things. Friends told me Jake wasn't the dependable guy Sarah thought. He quit his fitness job and was blowing through her money on parties and bar tabs. She was paying for everything, groceries, bills, even his nights out. The house she'd fought for? Falling apart because neither of them cared to maintain it? The car? Jake totaled it in a parking lot. Hearing about their downfall felt good. Maybe too good, but I didn't linger on it. I had my own life to rebuild. One of my first big wins was clearing my debts. The divorce and Sarah emptying our accounts left me with credit card bills and loans. It took months of pinching pennies, but I paid them off one by one. The day I settled the last one, I celebrated with a budget pizza and a movie marathon. It wasn't fancy, but it felt amazing. Next, I focused on saving. I stuck to a tight budget, no dining out, no splurges, just the essentials. I mastered meal prepping, eating the same chicken and rice dishes week after week. It was boring, but effective. My savings started growing. I also started taking care of myself. The divorce had wrecked my health, and I was done feeling terrible. I joined a local gym, not Jake's, obviously, and started working out regularly. It wasn't about outshining Jake, though maybe a little. It was about feeling stronger, more confident. Work paid off, too. All those extra hours and side gigs built my reputation, and after a year I earned a promotion. The raise wasn't massive, but it was progress. More importantly, it proved I could stand on my own. As I got more stable, I treated myself to small upgrades. I swapped my old couch for a real one, got a decent coffee machine, and took a short weekend trip. Nothing extravagant, just enough to enjoy life again. By the end of that year, I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. Sarah and Jake? Not so much. Word was, Jake had burned through Sarah's savings, racked up her credit cards, and left her stranded. She lost the house, the car, everything she'd taken from me. Karma moves fast sometimes, but I didn't care about them anymore. My focus was on me and the life I was building. I wasn't rich, but I was content, and that was enough. I'd learned I didn't need Sarah, a big house, or a flashy car to feel successful. All I needed was my own grit and determination. The best part? I did it without Sarah's drama weighing me down. For the first time in years, I felt in control, and that was worth every hardship. One evening after work, I stopped at a convenience store to grab a drink. While waiting to pay, I noticed a display of lottery tickets. I'm not a gambler, but something made me say, why not? And I bought one. I tossed it in my coat pocket and forgot about it. Days later, while eating dinner, I saw a news alert about an unclaimed lottery prize from a store in my city. My pulse raced. I dug through my coat, found the ticket, and checked the numbers. My jaw dropped. Every number matched. I sat there, stunned, refreshing the website to confirm I wasn't dreaming. This wasn't supposed to happen to people like me. The next day, I took the ticket to the lottery office. They verified it, after taxes, about $10 million. My mind reeled. I didn't tell a soul. I'd heard horror stories of winners losing it all, and I wasn't going to be one of them. I hired a financial planner and a lawyer before claiming the prize. They set up a trust to keep it anonymous. Smartest move I made. Once the money was secure, I made a plan. I wasn't going to be a cliché, blowing it on nonsense. My planner put most of it into safe investments and accounts. I didn't touch the principal, but I did make a few upgrades. I moved out of my rundown apartment into a modest 3-bedroom house with a nice yard. Nothing lavish, just a place that felt like home. I traded my old car for a reliable new one. Comfortable, not flashy. I got a few nice things for the house, like a proper bed. After years of secondhand furniture, it felt like a treat. That was it. No exotic trips, no luxury brands. I didn't need them. What I needed was security. And for the first time, I had it. The strangest part of winning wasn't the money. It was the freedom. No more worrying about bills or working myself to death. I could breathe. That freedom changed everything. I gave back quietly, donating to local causes and helping a few struggling friends. Nothing major, just enough to make a difference. I kept the win secret, only telling my best friend, Tom, who I trusted completely. I didn't even tell my family. People get strange about money, and I wasn't inviting that chaos. Life after the win was simple. I worked part-time because I enjoyed it and wanted to stay busy. I spent my days fixing up my house, hitting the gym, and enjoying my stability. The money didn't change who I was. It just gave me a fresh start on my terms. I was grateful for that, but my past wasn't as far behind me as I'd hoped. Nothing ruins a good day like seeing your cheating ex-wife parked in your driveway, leaning on a rental car like she owns the place. It had been over a year, and Sarah looked rough. Her polished look was gone, replaced by a forced confidence. This wasn't her first attempt to reach out. Weeks earlier, she'd sent a casual, "Hey, Ethan, how's it going?" on social media. I ignored it. Then came the calls from unknown numbers, which I also ignored. Sarah never gave up when she thought there was something to gain. There she was, uninvited, smiling like we were old pals. I stepped outside, keeping the door half closed. "Sarah, what do you want?" Her fake charm was obvious. "Can't I just drop by to see how you're doing? It's been ages." I wasn't playing her game. "We have nothing to talk about. Say what you came for and go." She sighed, dropping the act. "Fine. Word is you're doing well. People say you won big." There it was. Somehow she'd heard about the lottery, probably through gossip or social media. "Even if that's true," I said, keeping my voice steady, "it's none of your business. We're divorced." She shrugged. "We were married for years, Ethan. Don't you think I deserve something? I supported you through everything." I nearly laughed. Supported me? She'd taken half my life in the divorce and ran off with Jake. "You're not getting a cent," I said. "You got your share. Don't push it." Her smile faded, but she pressed on. "Let's talk about it. Maybe over dinner. We could work something out." I shook my head. "There's nothing to work out. Leave." Her face hardened. "This isn't over," she said, storming back to her car. I knew she'd be back. Sarah didn't quit when she smelled money. Sure enough, she started bombarding me with messages, guilt trips, fake nostalgia, even flattery. One text read, "I was there when you had nothing. Don't you owe me?" I ignored them all, saving every message just in case. Blocking her didn't help. She switched to emails. Then came another unannounced visit. This time she was blunt. "I'm serious, Ethan. We need to settle this or I'll take you to court." I raised an eyebrow. "On what grounds?" "We've been divorced for over a year." She smirked. "If you bought that ticket while we were married, I'm entitled to half." Her logic was absurd, but I didn't flinch. "Good luck with that," I said, closing the door. I was furious, but I knew Sarah. She didn't care about facts, only what she could grab. I called my lawyer, Lisa, and explained everything. She reassured me Sarah had no case. "The ticket was bought and claimed after the divorce," she said. "She can try, but she'll lose." Still, I told Lisa to prepare. I knew Sarah wouldn't stop. Days later, I got served with court papers. It was ridiculous, but not unexpected. Sarah was determined to make my life miserable, but I had Lisa and the truth on my side. The fight was on, but I wasn't letting her win. Court was like stepping back into the worst parts of my life, but with an audience. I arrived early with Lisa, who was calm and confident. Sarah strutted in, dressed like she was on a TV drama, her lawyer trailing with a stack of papers. The courtroom was small, nothing like the movies, just a judge, a stenographer, and a few others. The judge reviewed the case. Sarah's claim was that the lottery winnings were marital assets I'd hidden during the divorce. Her lawyer argued I'd concealed the ticket to cheat her out of her share. Lisa dismantled their case methodically. She presented documents from the Lottery Commission showing the ticket's purchase and claim dates, both well after the divorce. She also showed my financial records, proving the winnings were deposited into a new account, separate from anything tied to Sarah. When Sarah took the stand, she put on a performance, crying about how tough our marriage was and how betrayed she felt by my secret winnings. It was all drama. She even said, "I trusted him, and he hid this from me. I'll never recover from that." Recover? She was struggling because Jake had bled her dry, not because of me. Lisa's cross-examination was brutal. "Sarah, the divorce was finalized on this date, correct?" Sarah nodded. "And you've seen the evidence that the ticket was purchased afterward, haven't you?" Sarah dodged, saying, "I don't know when he bought it. He could have gotten it during the marriage and waited." Lisa didn't let up. "Are you accusing the Lottery Commission of falsifying records?" Sarah stumbled. "No, but what?" Lisa pressed. "The evidence is clear. There's no overlap with your marriage, is there?" Sarah mumbled, "Yes." Lisa went further, pointing out Sarah's hefty divorce settlement, the house, car, and savings. "You've already received a significant payout, haven't you?" Sarah played the victim, claiming she'd burned through it to survive. Lisa didn't buy it. "So you're asking for more money with no legal basis because you spent your settlement?" The room went quiet. Even Sarah's lawyer looked defeated. When I testified, I kept it simple. I explained the ticket's timeline, how I'd claimed it legally, and how Sarah had reappeared only after hearing about the money. The judge listened intently. Sarah's lawyer made a weak final argument about marital contributions, but it fell flat. The judge's ruling was a relief. He dismissed Sarah's case as groundless and warned her against frivolous lawsuits. He even scolded her lawyer for wasting the court's time. Sarah was livid, her face flushed, but she held it together, barely. It was stressful, but justice prevailed. Sarah had tried to take what wasn't hers and got humiliated publicly. You'd think she'd back off after losing, but Sarah wasn't done. Outside the courthouse, she was waiting in the parking lot, screaming, "You'll pay for this, Ethan! This isn't over!" I didn't engage, just shrugged and walked away. Arguing would have fueled her chaos. But I had a plan. Sarah was predictable. She loved drama and thought she was smarter than everyone. But she wasn't. I decided to set a trap. Over the next week, I spread a rumor through mutual contacts that I was investing in a big real estate project, a luxury development that was the city's next hot thing. It was a complete lie, cooked up with Lisa. As expected, Sarah took the bait. She reached out through a friend, saying she was interested in partnering on the deal, claiming she had real estate connections. I played along, saying I'd arrange a meeting with the developers. In reality, they were Lisa and a colleague posing as executives. At the meeting, Sarah showed up in a power suit, throwing around terms like profit margins and investment portfolios, trying to sound like a big shot. She brought fake documents to prove her financial backing. Lisa and her colleague played their parts perfectly, asking questions and acting impressed while Sarah dug herself deeper. By the end, she was beaming, thinking she'd secured a piece of the fake project. Afterward, Lisa and I reviewed her documents. They were a mess: forged bank statements, fake letters of credit, pure fraud. We took it all to the authorities, who jumped on the case. Weeks later, Sarah was arrested. She was completely blindsided, clueless that the deal was a sting. The fallout was epic. Sarah faced charges for fraud, forgery, and more. Her fake documents made the case ironclad. Her lawyer tried to claim she'd been tricked, but the evidence was overwhelming. She got fines, probation, and community service, and her reputation was trashed. Word spread, and she became a laughingstock among her friends. I won't lie. It felt good, not just because of the money or the fake deal, but because Sarah finally faced consequences for her lies and manipulation. It was the perfect revenge. I didn't have to stoop to her level. I let her greed undo her. She tried contacting me one last time, sending a long email full of excuses, blaming everyone but herself. She even asked for financial help, just to get by. I didn't reply. She'd made her choices, and now she had to live with them. This whole saga taught me a lot. Walking away from Sarah was the best decision I ever made. The lottery was great, but the real win was being free of her toxicity and knowing I'd come out stronger, no matter how hard she tried to pull me down. Sarah thought she could break me, but all she did was break herself. And I'm perfectly fine with that. So, what are your thoughts on this story? Do you agree with what happened? Or do you see it differently? Let us know your opinion in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our upcoming stories. See you in the next one.